This is the last and probably most important tutorial in the Google Sites tutorials, and it's all about sharing and permissions. So in the previous 6 or 7 or 10 tutorials, however many we did, we created an entire website, but no one in the world can see it. It's still private. In order to make it public, you click this blue share button, and that brings you to sharing and permissions. Now, if you want a very detailed explanation of sharing and permissions, please watch my sharing permissions tutorials on Google Drive because they're pretty much identical except for a few exceptions to Google Sites. So I'm going to go through this tutorial a little more quickly. Again, if you want it a little more detailed, you can check out the other tutorials on Google Drive. But basically, here is the sharing and permissions part of Google Sites. You have this first thing is called your visibility option. Okay, right now it says Malik Walsh EdTech Services, anyone can find and edit this website. This name is going to be replaced with the name of your school if you're using Google Apps for Education. So it will say Longwood School District. Anyone at Longwood can find and edit. So that's called visibility. We're going to change that. The different visibility options are the most visible on the top to the least visible on the bottom. The most visible is on and public on the web, which means exactly what it says. It's a regular website. Anyone in the world can see it. Okay. And can view is the only option that you're allowed to have for this kind of public website. You can't have the entire world editing the website. On and anyone with the link, it's the same thing as having an unlisted phone number. Okay, anyone in the world can get to the website as long as you give them the link to access it. It's not searchable through online search engines such as Yahoo, Bing, and Google. These next two are similar. Okay, the first one, this one right here, it says on Malik Walsh EdTech Services. If for your school, it will say on Longwood School District, on Comswag School District, on New York City schools. What it means is anyone in your school district, as long as they're logged into their web address, will be able to access your website, search for it, and access it. They can search for it in the Google Sites app, or they can search for it on any search engine, but they have to be logged into their school account. So parents, for instance, are not going to be able to see your website if this is what you have chosen, unless they're logged into their student's account, or they somehow have a Gmail account associated with your school. This next one, it's the same thing, except it's unlisted. They can't search for it. They need the link, and they have to be logged in to the domain that you're in. And then off, and by the way, for these two, the default is can view, but you can change it to can edit. Okay, which means anyone in your school can actually edit your website. That's really not good unless this is a school project that you're doing with students and you want them to edit it. But you want to leave it on can view. And then off means exactly what it says. It's going to stay off, but you can invite specific people on the bottom. Just type their email address in. Okay, and then individually, you can have them either edit it, view it, or be an owner. The difference between editing and ownership is actually a significant difference with Google Sites. Um, Editors can only add pages and edit individual pages. Uh, Editors cannot manage site settings, and they cannot edit site layout. You have to be an owner to manage the entire site's themes and fonts under the manage site settings that we went over in previous tutorials. And you also have to be an owner if you want to edit site layout. So editors can only do individual pages. Okay. Check this button if you want to send them an email address when you share it with them, and uncheck it if you don't. So we're going to share that right now. And that's it. It's shared. Now, one other thing about Google Sites that's different from Google Docs is that you can have page level permissions. In other words, you can have different visibility permissions for different pages. maybe you want this. I'll give you an example of how this can be helpful. I did a class website where the students created a Wild West newspaper in the form of a website. They were able to edit every single page except for one page. And the one page that they could not edit was a page that had the directions for the project on it. So in that case, I wanted different sharing permissions and different visibility permissions for different pages. Another example of this might be maybe there's one page on your website that you don't want parents to see, and there's other pages that you want the entire public to see. So this is how you do page level permissions. So the first thing you want to do is click this button right here that says enable page level permissions. Before you do that, understand one very simple thing. You cannot make individual pages more visible than the entire website. You can only make them less visible. What do I mean by that? Click this button, click it again, turn on page level permissions. Everything is based off of the main website. All right, take a look up here. On the left-hand side, we have a list of every single page plus the main website. So right now, the main website is highlighted. Okay, so for the entire website, it says that only specific people can access this website. It is not public. That means we will not be able to make any of these pages public because the entire website isn't public. We can only get less visible on individual pages than the main website, not more visible. Okay, new pages inherit permissions by default. If you want to add a user, okay, so we're going to change that right now. We're going to change this to public. The entire website is public right now. Okay. Now let's click a random page. Let's click page 3. Oh, and also right now, Malik Walsh can only view the website. Individual people, you can change from viewing to editing whenever you want, regardless of what their permission is on the main website. It's just the visibility that you can't change. So if we go to page 3, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about so you understand. Page 3, okay, we're going to put change. And we're going to make page 3, actually page 3 was public. We're going to make it private. Okay, so right now, I did this before. If you were confused, we skipped a step. So page 3 is private. However, Malik Walsh can edit it. So no one can see page 3 except for Malik Walsh, plus he can edit it. That's page 3. If you go back up to the main website, though, every other page is public. What about the home page? Or the main blog page? The main blog page is public. Malik Walsh can view it. The home page is private. I switched that earlier. I'm going to make it public. I'm going to let Malik Walsh edit it. So you get the main idea. I don't want to confuse you. Everything is based off of this first setting on the main website. If you make it public, you can then make subsequent pages on the website private. That's great if you have a website where you want it to be public, but you don't want parents to see one individual page. In addition, anyone you add to the website, let's say you add your entire class of students, you can have them as viewing the entire website and maybe just one specific page that they can edit it. And there you go. That's page level permissions. I hope you learned something. It's very useful if you want to do class projects where they're editing certain pages and not editing others, and or if you're hiding the visibility of specific pages from parents or coworkers. Thank you.